love coffee. Alright, so this video is going to be, as promised, a test on the Stanley flask, the Klean Kanteen flask, and also I'm going to throw in a wild card here, and I'm going to put in a cheap and cheerful Starbucks flask that I got last night. So I was thinking about this video yesterday, and I was thinking, well, what's the point of showing you, you know, the two market leaders, if you like, on flasks? If there's not much in between them, then there's not much point of the test, if you know what I mean. But then again, there could be quite a difference, so that's the whole point of this thing. So let's see, the Klean Kanteen. Oh, by the way, these are all roughly, give or take a few ounces, the same capacity in volume, holding liquid. So cost wise, Starbucks one, what was this? Oh, it's on the bottom. 13 quid from Starbucks. Nice. It's actually quite nice. It's got a nice wide opening, snap tight lid. 13 quid. Klean Kanteen, £22. You can get this from Amazon. You can get it from Henny Haynes. You can actually get a different variety of lids on this one. This one is the kind of slide open lid. Like I say, you get different types. And lastly, the big old Stanley one. It is bigger, but it's the reason it is bigger is because it comes with the cup on the top to put your drink into. So that's the difference in price. £10, £30. Is the £10 one 3 times as bad as the one that's £30? I don't know. That's the whole point of this test. I'm hoping the more expensive one keeps your hot stuff hotter for longer. What I'm going to do with this test is I'm going to fill each one to the brim, well, not to the brim, just below the screw line bit, with boiling water. I'm going to take the temperature of each one with this thermometer, and then over the space of, I think I'm going to do it for about 7 hours, take a measurement in the temperature at hourly intervals for 7 hours, and whichever one has lost the least amount of temperature will be declared the winner. Alright, so without further ado, let's get cracking. What the? So it turns out this thermometer is only to be used for body temperature, not for sticking in boiling hot water. So I'm going to go out and get one of those food thermometer ones. That should do the trick. This, on the other hand, you ain't sticking anywhere. Alright, so it's been a week since I found out that the temperature probe thing that I had wasn't for boiling temperatures. It's just for measuring body temperature. So this is what I've purchased. It is a proper food temperature thermometer. Does it in Celsius and Fahrenheit. For the sake of simplicity, I'm going to do this in Celsius, 0 for obviously freezing and 100 for boiling. So it just keeps it simple. So yeah, let's do it again. Take 2. Woo! Alright, so I want to just quickly pour it in quite near to the top, and then put the lid on. I don't want any heat to escape initially. Same for this one. Whack the lid on. All the holes are sealed at the top, by the way, so no heat can escape. And lastly, the Starbucks one. Alright, that's that done. Alright, so it's been 5 minutes since I put this, filled this up with boiling water. I'm going to do an initial temperature test, and then I'm going to do one every hour thereafter. So The time now is 12 o'clock. So let's do the first one. Basically, I'm going to measure it, put the lid back on, write down the temperature. Again, this is all going to be in centigrade. So let's whack it in. I mean, although it is, you can see the steam coming off it, I don't expect it to be 100 degrees. I'll be quite surprised if it is. It's climbing though. Okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it will get to 100. Oh, maybe not. Right. Okay, it's fluctuating. Let's say 89.9 for that one. 89.9. That comes out. Lid goes back on. Klean Kanteen. Basically, I've done the cheapest flask first, the Starbucks, the middle one, the Klean Kanteen, and the most expensive, the Stanley. So you can say £10, £20, £30. So this one looks pretty much exactly the same as the Starbucks. I know, a bit more. 90.1. Okay, so already that's, although it's only 1 degrees, the more expensive one is 1 degree hotter. Interesting. Although expected. Okay, and last of all, the Stanley. Hopefully you can see that alright. I can see it alright on my camera here. But obviously I'm writing it down just as a visual reference and also just to record the difference in the end, what the temperature is. Well, that is interesting. The most expensive one, although I've only done this 5 minutes ago, has retained more heat. Almost 4 degrees more than the Klean Kanteen one. Okay, that's good, that's promising. I mean, that's the most expensive one, so in theory it should do. But we'll see how long it keeps that up for. So what we're saying, 93 point, I can't even see that. It's fluctuating. Let's say 93 point, well, it's going between 5 and 7, so let's say 93.6. 93.6. Okay, that comes out, lid goes on. Alright, they're all tight. Alright, so that's the first one done. There's your results. Let's come back in, where are we now? 3 minutes past 12. We'll come back in 1 hour, so 1 o'clock. Alright, see you there. Woo! Laters. So, we are now 45 minutes in. I just thought I'd show you this because it's interesting because the Stanley one, like I said, the most expensive one, is still, after all this time, stone cold on the outside. The Klean Kanteen one is warm all over, like the lid, the base, everything. The cheapest one, however, is cold at the bottom and warm at the top. So you could say it's giving out half as much heat as the second most expensive one, which is odd. I didn't think it would give off this much heat, and I've used this before and I don't recall it ever being like that, you know, which is obviously it has been, but yeah, that's interesting. The Stanley is just kicking ass, man. It's just not giving out any heat. But you know, we've got another test in 15 minutes. We'll see. That's the true test. So see you in 15. All right. So it is 1 o'clock. Test number 2. Centigrade. Still steam coming out of it, which is good. Still rising. Alright, so we have, still rising, I'll give it a chance. Okay, it's fluctuated between 75.3 and 75.5, so I'll do it 75.4. Alright, that comes out, that goes back on. That's that one done. Klean Kanteen. So the Starbucks has dropped 14 degrees. Is that right? Yeah. Oh man, the Klean Kanteen is not doing well. It is staying on 67.8. Really? 67.8. Fucking hell. That is surprising. I was not expecting that. Alright. Stanley. So the Klean Kanteen has lost 33 degrees. Shit. And the Stanley, let's see, we are reading, still rising, 88 or 89. Let's do that as 89.1. 89.1. So that's only lost 4 degrees, whereas the others have lost 15. Shit, man. That is surprising. So far, test number 2, the cheapest one has lost 15 degrees. The Klean Kanteen, the second cheapest one, has lost 90, 30, hold on, 23 degrees. and the Stanley has only lost 4. So far, the Stanley is kicking ass. Alright, see you in, where are we now? 1:04, see you in 2 o'clock. Cool. So, what I'm going to do is write on the first and second test the difference in between those 2 tests. So, for the Starbucks one, we have 89.9 degrees starting, second test 75.4, that's a difference of 14.5 degrees. The Klean Kanteen, the second most expensive one on the test, started off 90.1, second test 67.8, that's a difference of 22.3 degrees. That is surprising. The Stanley one, the most expensive, started off with the most amount of heat, retained the most amount of heat with a second test of 89.1, which is a difference in 1 hour of 4.5 degrees, which that's quite impressive. So there's the difference. It's now 1:10. See you in 2 o'clock. Alrighty, it is 2 o'clock. Now, in the last little chat that I did, I said this went down 30 something degrees. Obviously, I'm an idiot, and it is 22. So apologies for that. So which is why I basically wrote it down, so we know for sure. Okay, so yeah, like I said, it's 2 o'clock. This is test number 3. This is the 3rd hour. Let's see how well we're doing. What I don't want to do is drop this in the water, because that would really fuck me off. Hopefully you can see that alright. So obviously you can see the temperature on the thing, and you can see the last temperature, so it gives you a good idea of how much it's going down per hour, you know. So we have there 65.3 in the 3rd hour. 65.3. Pull that out, stick that back on. Nice and tight. Klean Kanteen. We have 53.5. It is not looking good for the Klean Kanteen. Stanley one. You can see that. Wow. That's pretty impressive. So far the Stanley is losing the least amount of heat per hour, averaging 5 degrees I guess per hour, 5 degrees loss of heat. So what we now, this is 85, let's say 85, keep it simple. 85.0, alright. Take that off. Lid goes back on. Nice and tight. Okay, so right, I'm going to work this out, write it down, and I'll show you the difference. Alright, so on the third test, the difference between the second hour and the third hour for the Starbucks one is 10 degrees, 10.1. So initially it lost 14, and the third test it lost 10. For the Klean Kanteen, it went down 14.3 degrees between the second and third test. And for the Stanley, between the second and third test, it only lost 4.1 degrees. So again, the Stanley is still tearing ahead. And feeling the Flask again, the Stanley is still stone cold. So it's not lost any heat externally. Whereas the Klean Kanteen, although it's not as hot as it was, the outside is still warm, but it's got a little bit cooler now, which would suggest that it's not retaining the heat as it was once, you know, an hour ago or so. Starbucks one, that's still a little bit warm, so it's still losing heat, but all in all, the Stanley is just, you know, is tearing ahead. So it is now, if you can see that, 2 o'clock or 2:07. Come back in another hour and see how they're doing. But so far, looks like Stanley's gonna take the crown. All right, see you in a bit. What's up, guys? So this is the 4th test. Hopefully you're still there and you're still awake. Let's see, it's 3 o'clock. Let's get cracking. Alright, so 4th test, 4th hour, Starbucks. We have I must admit the Starbucks one is surprising how good it is, considering it's only 13 quid. Alright, so we have 57.7. We'll work out the difference of that in a sec. Oh, bollocks. Klean Kanteen. We have got 43.7. Look at the steam coming out of that. Right, so 4th hour, 4th test for the Stanley. Let's see what we got. There you go, so you can see that. So the reason I show you the watch is because I don't want you to think I'm just you know, trying to speed up the process or anything like that. So I'm genuinely doing this every hour, on the hour, and I'm showing you the temperature as well, so I'm not making it up. I just want it to be as honest and as proper as possible. So we have 81.1. Alright, so I'm going to do 5 hours in total, but I think it's pretty obvious who the winner is. The Stanley is just it's just kicking everyone's ass today. But you know what? I'm not surprised. They've been doing this shit since 1913. So if anyone knows how to keep your stuff warm, it's going to be those guys. Alright, so we're going to do one more test on the 5th hour, see what the difference is at the end, and then yeah, we'll have a look at the figures. Alright, see you in 1 hour, 4 o'clock, laters, boy. Okay, so that was the 4th hour test. So the Starbucks between the 3rd and 4th hour lost 7.6 degrees. The Klean Kanteen lost 9.8 degrees. Stanley with a minuscule record-breaking 3.9 degrees loss in between the 3rd and 4th hour. Now there's a pattern evolving here. Obviously I think it's obvious which one is the best, but what I didn't foresee was the Klean Kanteen faring worse than the Starbucks everyday Joe kind of flask. But the similarities between the three are you lose the highest amount of heat in the 1st hour. So in the 1st hour it lost 14 degrees, in the 2nd hour it lost 10 degrees, and the 3rd hour it lost 7.6. Same with the Klean Kanteen. The greatest loss was on the initial test of 22, and then it only lost 14, and then it lost 9.8. And with the Stanley, although the figures are a lot smaller, the same rules apply. The initial loss was only 4.5, or I say only, but it's a lot for the Stanley. 4.5, and then 4.1, and then 3.9. So there you go. There is a pattern, but the Stanley, boy, it's looking good. Okay, so we've got one more test. This will be the 5th hour test. I imagine, you know, if you're going to take these out, you're going to do a little day trip somewhere on the bike, and there's different factors that come into play. I mean, I'm inside now, although it is a little bit chilly in here. It's if you're out on the bike and you've got the added effect of the wind and whatever ambient temperature is anyway, that would probably affect it as well. But in a controlled environment like this, the Stanley's looking to be the winner. Alright, see you in 1 hour. It is 10 past 3, well 8 minutes past 3. See you in 4 o'clock. Alright, see you later, bye. Alright, this is the last one. It is now 4 o'clock. Let's get the 5th and final reading done. don't know if you can see that, but there is still some steam coming out of there. But let's see what the thermometer's saying. Okay, what have we got? $51.5. 51.5. Okay. Klean Kanteen. $37.2. Go on the other side. You can see that or not. Alright, so for the last time, the Stanley, and then we'll have a look at the figures. Although, like I said before, it's kind of obvious, just going by these numbers, what the best one is here. And it's the most expensive, so you know, you get what you pay for. So like this, on the fifth hour, it's reading 77.4. It's hotter in the fifth hour than the Klean Kanteen was on its second hour. I mean, that's pretty good. So we've got 77.7. All right. So let's turn that off, put that back on. Let's flip you around. All right, so that's it, it's done. 5 hours worth of testing on each one. A temperature reading on the hour, every hour. So the clear winner is the Stanley. It is won by quite a fair margin. It is the most expensive one, like I said, but you truly do get what you pay for, certainly when it comes to getting flasks. Now, what caught me by surprise was the second place, the second most expensive one, the Klean Kanteen, didn't fare as well as the Starbucks one, which was 13 quid. This was 22 quid. And I don't know why. I mean, I would have thought a company that is dedicated to, you know, making insulated things like flasks would have fared a bit better. But, you know, none of them are particularly, like, shit, if you know what I mean. You know, they all do a decent enough job. But when the difference in the fifth hour is, you know, like this one, the last reading was 37 degrees. This one was 51. So, you know, you're looking at a difference of 13 degrees in temperature, which might not, you know, seem a lot, but if you want a nice hot drink, then you don't want a lukewarm one, do you? So there you go. So the clear winner is the Stanley. let's have a quick look at the stats again. There's the Starbucks one. I mean, this is just a difference in between each hour, but I guess the important one is this side here. The total temperatures on the hour. So we started off at 89 degrees, we ended up at 51 on the 5th hour. The Klean Kanteen started off at 90, ended up the lowest one here on the 5th hour of 37 degrees. And the Stanley started off the warmest at 93 and ended the warmest on the 5th hour at 77.7. So like I said, this was warmer after 5 hours. The Stanley one was warmer after 5 hours than the Klean Kanteen one was after 2 hours. I mean, that says it all, doesn't it? So there you go, guys. If you're looking for a flask, I kind of got to recommend the Stanley one, even though it is the most expensive. You're buying this thing for a purpose. These only serve one purpose, really, is to keep cold stuff cold or hot stuff hot. You know, so that's what you're paying your money for. So the Billy Forex recommendation, Stanley, good shit, man. All right, see you later. Take care. Ride safe. Adios. Be good. See you later.